Good evening and welcome to the March 24, 2026 Board of Trustees meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I am Marwan Cameron. I'm going to read our mission statement this evening, inspiring curiosity and connection. Our board members tonight, Eric Chisney and Monica Blackwood. Absent is President Gina Steiner and Eric Fong are absent. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jason to introduce.
Good evening. Tonight we have with us Tammy Jeffries, Executive Assistant, Deputy Director of Public Services, Shannon Peterson. We have the Director of Human Resources, Chandra Tellerico. We have the Executive Director of the Kitsap Regional Library Foundation, Wendy Kyle, and the Director of Information Technology and Facilities Management, Mike Rose. Absent tonight is Deputy Director, Chief Financial and Operating Officer, Dan Baer, and as well as the Director of Strategy and Communications, Jeannie Allen. And we have two very special guests sitting amongst us from Collection and Technical Services, Ben Nanamaker, who is Collection and Technical Services Librarian, and Sharon Grant, who is the Collection and Technical Services Manager, who will present our mission moment around collections and where we're headed and where we've come from. That's it.
All right, thank you, Jason. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? All right, no additions and no changes. Also, I see that there is no public comment today. I will move on to the consent agenda. Thank you. All matters listed within the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion of the Board of Trustees with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired, items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. Tonight we have the minutes of the February 24, 2026 regular board meeting and also the payment of February 2026 expenditures, payroll and benefits. We will move to, does anyone wish for further discussion?
I so move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, that takes, there's no no's, because it's just us. All right. Now we'll move on to our presentations. First up is our mission moment, Collection and Technical Services.
Hello. Thank you for having us today. My name is Benjamin Nanamaker. I am a collection management librarian who orders for adult nonfiction, adult world languages, and adult graphic novels.
And my name is Sharon Grant, and I'm the Collection and Technical Services Manager.
Rosie Bromberg, who is our collection management librarian for youth and teen materials, also helped put this presentation together today. Unfortunately, she was not able to be here, but we are glad to have her input on this. We're here today to share with you highlights from 2025 and previews of 2026 in collection and technical services. Yep. It is not going forward. Oh. Awesome. Thank you. First, this is who we represent. Collection and Technical Services is a team of 16 staff who handle all things related to the library's collections, from selection and ordering materials, both physical and digital, to receiving, cataloging, processing physical items, mending, managing digital collections and databases, overseeing branch statistics, and managing collections procedures and balances of items across all 9 branches and mobile services, facilitating interlibrary loans, and more. Basically, if you're interacting with books or materials in any shape or form, we had a direct role in getting it into your hands. Next slide.
Is this supposed to go this?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. 2025 was a very busy year for us in CTS. Let's take a look. Last year, we added over 45,000 new items to our collections and had just over 2.5 million checkouts. Digital items and Overdrive get a lot of attention, but the bulk of our circulation is actually physical items. 1.7 million physical checkouts last year and just under a million digital checkouts. Every year we kind of set the goal to try to get to that magic 1 million checkout mark for digital, and we're pretty confident this year we're going to hit that. Generally speaking, we've noticed our patrons' interests and habits have shifted. We're seeing less demand on the highest interest books. It's flattened out a little more. There's more interest in a range of broader materials. The shift has been supported by our interlibrary loan service, which allows us to facilitate borrowing outside our collections and offer patrons access to almost every book they could hope to read. Many of the project initiatives we worked on last year were focused on making sure our collections were accessible, browsable, and searchable to our patrons as part of our commitment to supporting our strategic plan goals of fostering welcoming and belonging. The Juvenile Graphic Novel Relabeling Project continued our efforts to make these highly popular collections more easily discoverable by children and families browsing by removing dense Dewey Decimal numbers in favor of sorting by title. Similarly, we worked with all 9 branches to separate our transitional chapter books, what we call step-ups, into their own collection digitally and physically to facilitate better usage and identification in this time where young readers are struggling to build fluency and these materials are in high demand. We increased the findability in the catalog and in our branches for our Northwest reference materials, a special collection that includes works about our local history or topics of deep local interest to our patrons and visitors to our area. By popular demand, we added a short story label to our adult fiction collections to make these in-demand items easier to find on our shelves. And we updated book kit instructions and provided additional screenshots to be clearer and moved the barcodes from a card inside the crate for these items to the top of the crate in order to make it clearer, to make check-in, check-out easier for staff. Next one. Additionally, we presented and did a number of trainings last year. Multiple times a year, we ran a collection management training that helps all our frontline staff contribute to keeping our collections healthy, current, and looking good. A lot of it is helping staff learn when a book can be repaired and when it's time to let a book go. We also ran 3 iterations of Reader's Advisory training, which help our frontline staff better recommend books, build displays, and provide online services. After 11 years of running just our 101 Introduction to Reader's Advisory class, we finally added a 102, which focuses on books and materials for youth, as well as genre trainings, which allowed staff to dive deeply into specific genres. Our selection team presented at our Spring Staff Day last year with tips on creating eye-catching and diverse book displays, and we also presented this year on our new database offerings. And we were very present at Washington Library Association Conference in Tacoma last year. Adult fiction selector Sarah Jaffa presented as part of Washington Books recommendation panel, What Do I Read Next?, which was Washington author book recommendations, and Rosie presented on ensuring accessibility and diversity in learning kits. On top of that, we supported many events and outreach opportunities last year, which we'll go into on the next slide. We supported major events and outreach opportunities from summer learning and to the library visits for 3rd graders and 6th graders, festivals like Juneteenth and Pride, author visits, community collections at the Kitsap Jail, and other spaces where patrons don't have library access, and other outreach partnerships. We aided with logistics for closures at multiple branches, including unexpected closures at Bainbridge Island and Sylvan Way, as well as the closure at Paulsbo to build the new meeting rooms. In addition to closure support, we also help branches shift and rearrange collections for better user experience or to meet new building goals, like with Paulsbo's shift for many of their collections in order to make space for those new meeting rooms. And we supported the 80th anniversary celebrations by providing a year's worth of online book lists, highlighting topics special to each branch, favorites from decades past, staff picks, and trending titles, as well as support for other initiatives like the Kitsap History Museum exhibit, events, and more.
Just because I can't resist, I'm going to try it one more time.
I thought I saw it on earlier.
That's an excellent question.
Like there were numbers on it.
Oh, wait, aha. No. All right, no problem. So 2026. So this year, our staff as a whole is looking at customer service. How can we do that better? We're looking for how do we welcome, how do we support, and how do we delight? And this is something that we're going to be focusing on in collection and technical services next year. So we're looking at improving the collections that are in place right now, as well as the services. We are going to do a relabel for our adult graphic novel collection to make it more findable. We're going to refresh some of our adult fiction and popular children's titles and make sure that we're investing in the collections that we have and making sure they're up to date. We're going to be looking at our interlibrary loan process. It is kind of a hidden process at our library, our service at our library, and we want to make it more available and clearer to our patrons. And finally, we want to make sure we are keeping in touch with our branch capacity. As we mentioned, people are shifting things around to make room for new, exciting things. And so we want to get out there in the branches, make sure our measurements and our inventory are up to date. We're also looking at expanding our collections for better service and equity. So we added a service called Leased Books. What that service does is it allows us to get those really high demand books in very fast and get them out to fill hold lists. And so we're piloting that this year. We're also adding to our kit collection, we're adding about 30 new kits for kids, and we're also looking to expand that to adults. And finally, we're interested in language support along with the library. Very invested in our language access plan. We are expanding picture books in Spanish to all of our locations, all 9 branches, and continuing to add new books, and also looking at what languages we are collecting and are those the right languages. So, as Ben mentioned, one of our major growth areas over the last few years has been our digital collection. So we are investing heavily in that. We are definitely going to make it to 1 million checkouts this year. In order to help us do that, we have added some new simultaneous use collections. As you might know, if you check out an ebook, only one person gets it. So with some of the collections on Overdrive, we can actually add collections where there's simultaneous use. So as many people want that book can get it. So we added a comic book collection, Lonely Planet Travel Guide. We are really expanding our digital audiobooks because we're really seeing those grow in terms of digital use. And overall, we're just adding more ebooks to our collection. We also added a number of online services. We added Canopy. This has been a service that's been wanted by our patrons for a while now. We're finally excited to be able to offer it. It's a digital movie and TV service, both for adults and for kids. We also added New York Times All Access. And what this service allows you is to really get beyond that 5-article paywall that you run up to in the New York Times. You can get as many articles as you want, and you can also get access to some of the specialized content around cooking and athletics. We also added a product called Jobs Now, which is a really amazing service that allows live coaching for resume writing, job help, and they're available from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. And finally, we have just added American Sign Language for our online language learning platform called Mango. You can actually see people doing signing, and you can actually kind of do some mirroring with them in order to learn American Sign Language. But we're not done yet. Coming this spring, actually next month, we're adding a number of new online service that we're hoping to help our patrons feel more welcome and to delight them. We're offering an online database of graphic novels. We've seen this collection be very popular, and sometimes it's hard to keep up with the demand, so we're offering this online service. We're also offering Lotte for Kids, which is a picture book, digital picture book collection with over 100 languages available. Also offering author alerts. So you can go to a page and then say you want to know when the latest popular author is added. You can sign up for just that author, and you get an email as soon as we add it to our library. And then finally, we adding a couple resources to help us expand our diverse resources. We have A to Z World of Food. It's a database of recipes and culture for about 174 countries. And then finally, we have Life in America, which provides a unique perspective from a variety of communities in the American experience. I know that was a lot. Any questions?
I have a couple. First of all, that was really interesting and exciting, and I can't wait to go home and tell my family about some of the new resources that are coming. Question about your job now. You said that they're available from 11 to 8. Is that like, correct me if I'm wrong, that's digitally they're available?
Yes.
From 11 to 8? Our time?
Yes, our time.
Okay, perfect. And then my second question is, sounds like the 1 million checkout is the milestone that we're striving for. What plans are in place? Doesn't have to be big, but what plans are in place when that millionth checkout happens to celebrate?
That is a great question.
Like
and we would
pizza
take
party,
we would
or
take suggestions,
or confetti all over the place.
right?
Just needs to be celebrated.
Overdrive used to send a little sticker thing that they would highlight all the libraries that have Overdrive that do 1 million. So part of it was just to get on that list.
Right?
But we're not sure if they still do that, but I think we could still be like, we've hit 1 million checkouts.
Create
Go
your
us.
own list.
All right. I just got my library card back, so I'm looking forward to accessing many of the databases there that caught my interest. But one of your slides, you were talking about creating the books so they catch your eye. So I saw how to pee your pants in that slide. Well, okay, now I want to know what that's about.
It's hard not to see that, and it's hard not to unsee it. I just kind of flipped through it really quick. It was actually a book that was asked for by a community partner, and I do think it's actually a practical guide because some of us may have a time in our life where a bathroom is just not nearby, and what can you do? It's practical.
Now I really want to read it. And then my last question is, do you have any graphic novels that you would recommend?
Oh, boy. Do you have any graphic novels that you like?
I like DC, Marvel, getting into some of the more hardcore, more violent things.
I think what has been really popular has been the Absolute DC line. Those books come in and they generate a decent amount of holds. I'm excited for, I don't know when this will come out in trade, but Absolute Green Arrow is going to be coming out in single issues pretty soon. So I would assume in a few months it's going to be printed. I'm really looking forward to that. Like that line just has a lot of, they get a lot of really good writers and just let them go to town. It's great.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for your presentation today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Just wanted to say in the end, I appreciate all that you do in collection and technical services. It's a really dynamic team. I think we all know that. But for our board members, I think a lot of the work that's done on the collection side, of course, is just not visible to our board and to our larger community. So I wanted to thank you for coming to present just a snapshot into what you do. And there's a lot, but from the training aspects, to the purchasing aspects, to the labeling, to the acquiring resources, to the interlibrary loans, to listening and adapting and responding to patron requests. That's where the real magic happens. And then your expertise, Ben, because we just saw a real live reference transaction take place right in front of us. And so I wanted to thank you both. Sharon has been just wonderful in her role, and I know that the team will continue to thrive under her leadership, and by you being there and doing what you do because you're a professional. And I can't wait to help us get to 1 million by jumping into all these digital resources. We're going to get there. So my requirement for all of us is to help that along by checking out digital materials now. Thank you.
All right, now we will have board member reports. So can we start with Monica?
Sure. Let's see. Over the last month, well, actually, a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 Saturdays ago, was the Military Appreciation Day in Silverdale or Bremerton, depending on who wants to claim the fairgrounds. But it was really fun. I had a booth there for my work, and walking around, it was really great to come across the KRL booth with staff members there willing and ready and excited to meet all of the military and military dependents who are in our community, and was introduced to some folks, and it was great to chat with them as a board member, but really just felt proud to be a part of KRL and helping to welcome this population into our community and continue to support those who serve us. So.
Well, I attended Staff Day last week and really enjoyed it. It was really well done, and kudos to the staff that put it together, because it's a lot of work, it looked like, but really well done, and I really enjoyed myself.
I too attended Staff Day, and it was definitely impressive this year, just all the work that goes into it. But also the keynote speaker this year was really impactful. She spoke about an empty chair, and I actually took that back to my own board. And then also Jason, pays attention to things, that are local, but also geopolitical and how it could affect the library. And I appreciate that as well, because it's something that we have to stay in tune with. So it was just, again, another great year, another great event. The staff appreciated, got to talk to a lot of them from different libraries, and just always love to be able to participate, and thank you for inviting us. Next, we will have our finance report from Eric.
Well, we're in good shape. Revenues and expenditures were within expectations. As you know, April and October are the big months for property tax income, and April is coming up, so that should be a big boost to our finances, but we're in good shape now.
Thank you, Eric. And we'll have our financial report from Jason.
Yes, stepping in for Dan Bayer tonight. In summary, at the 2-month mark, KRL is in a strong financial position. Spending's discipline, property tax revenue so far is outperforming expectations. Our cash flows, our cash reserves are healthy, and largely due to levy positions that have not come online yet or are due to be released later this year. And so really happy with the work of our Dan Bayer and our finance team. They'll continue to monitor and report on a monthly basis, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the board.
No questions? All right, then we will stay with Jason for the library director's report.
All right, good evening again. And so, first of all, in February, our management bargaining team continued negotiations with our union partners to come to an agreement on a successor collective bargaining agreement. I want to underscore how much we value our library workers and our commitment to a fair and respectful process, and I'm glad that's happening right now. And we look forward to an agreement that supports both our people and our long-term sustainability goals as an organization. And we're happy to hopefully have an agreed contract the next time we meet. We'll see. Second, our leadership team was devoted on a lot of energy in planning All Staff Day, which was held, as you mentioned, last week on the 19th. And that annual gathering is intentionally designed to invest in staff and to celebrate both our accomplishments from the previous year and to align the organization to our mission for the coming year. And so Staff connection, the shared learning, the organizational alignment, all of it goes to building a healthy, strong culture across the system. So the day really focused on the meaningful experience that reflects our values, celebrates our people, and reinforces our collective commitment to service excellence. I also spent time last month with fellow nonprofit leaders across Kitsap County talking about how we can collectively foster a culture of connection, collaboration, and community well-being. Those conversations are always helpful to advance not only the library's work, but our collective work as nonprofit leaders to make this county a better place for all who are involved. And so libraries are one of several civic and nonprofit pillars that are helping people be seen and heard and feel supported. And along the program and service highlights, we continue to deliver high-impact programs at exceptional caliber, including our third graders to the library program, which remains a cornerstone for our youth engagement work, welcoming students into our spaces and helping them to build those early connections to reading and learning, and to library resources at large. So these experiences, of course, lay the foundation for our lifelong library use for them and the support of educational success in our communities. And our maker programs continue to thrive, offering hands-on creative learning opportunities, particularly at Silverdale, where those programs have taken off for patrons really of all ages. And so those programs go a long way towards supporting our mission to really to encourage curiosity, skill building, exploration, and reinforces the library as a hub for innovation and informal learning. And then with tax season in full swing, it's important to note that our libraries are once again hosting tax assistance programs that are operating at full strength, and staff and volunteers are working hard to help valuable members of the community get tax assistance. And then staffing and other points of note in human resources news, I'm pleased to announce that the Kitsap Regional Library has again been recognized as a Well City Award participant. And this is, I think, our 9th consecutive year of being recognized in that capacity. And so if you don't know, the Well City program honors organizations that demonstrate a strong commitment to employee health and workplace wellness, which I can attest we do in our internal structures. And because of our continued participation, we get a 2% discount on health insurance premiums, which helps us manage the benefit costs while continuing to invest in staff well-being. So it's kind of a nice sort of external affirmation of the hard work that human resources does to sort of maintain that status. They really need internal programs. And then lastly, community and safety realities. I really would be remiss if I didn't talk about the broader life in Kitsap and things that are affecting our employees and our patrons and staff. And so as you know, the significant funding loss that happened with the Salvation Army in terms of the shelter has really impacted 2 libraries in Bremerton, our Sylvan Way Library and our MLK communities. That shelter has long provided critical daytime refuge, especially in the winter, for patrons who are unhoused. And so what that's meant is more individuals are turning to libraries as their primary place of shelter, particularly in inclement weather. And the tension has been that we are under-resourced to deal with the demand that is being placed on those libraries. And so while we're committed to serving the entire community, the shift has resulted in noticeable increase from people really who haven't previously relied on library services, and therein lies the tension of the education on proper use of the library and the resources and making them still available to all the other patrons has been a challenge. And so we've seen a rise in incidents in these branches, a rise in behavioral incidents, and the resulting incident reports that's required more time and care. And these are complex human situations that we don't have all the answers to, but we do have the answer to is providing the requisite supports for our staff. I'm proud of the work that our Deputy Director of Public Services has done to so far address by giving some of our leaders some respite time and also exploring resources from our community partners. And one of the things we are looking at, and I'm looking at with our Deputy Director of Public Services, is how might we have some sort of long-term partnership with a social worker that we can embed into these spaces, at least on a temporary basis, to deal with some of the challenges that our staff are not equipped to deal with. And they do a wonderful job, by the way, but it's a lot to ask of staff who don't have the proper training. And so I'm grateful to the support of my directors to at least explore those opportunities, and we'll see what comes of it. But I really want to lift up our staff in both the MLK Library and our staff at Sylvan Way, who've had to deal with a lot in the last month. And so board members, if you are out in these locations, particularly our Bremerton reps, Marwan, really give a shout out to staff and lift them up, because it's a lot right now. And so I know Shannon's doing everything she can to support them physically in-house a couple times a week, and I just had to mention that. Acknowledging that staff and their professionalism has really been the key to making what really has been a challenging situation be a lot better. And lastly, several visits, of course. I continue to visit our branches to stay in tune with our staff, the community. And I worked at Manchester for a day, out at MLK to visit our new interns, and then I'm still serving in community capacities with the Central Kitsap Long Range Facilities Committee, and also working with several leaders in the county to try to find a solution for our Sylvan Way library, and have and those touch points, keep me connected to our community and keep our libraries actively within conversations, which is what we want, because we're a valuable resource for not only the people in our micro communities, but the entire Kitsap County. And so this concludes my highlights from February, and thank you again for your support of our staff and our work across Kitsap County. I'm happy to take any questions from the board.
Any questions? I'll just make a quick comment. I do appreciate in your report that you show all the different places that you visit. You're busy just in doing what you normally do, but you really make an effort, a concerted effort, to meet different people in the community. And it's a kaleidoscope of folks, just looking at the list of executive directors and department heads from the county and whatnot. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. The mini's well-traveled. We're going to try to break 100,000 miles this year. 1 million checkouts, 100,000 miles. That's what we're going for.
I don't think your car will thank you, but. All right, there's no old business. There is new business. Public records policy. We're going to go back to Jason Driver.
Again, this particular policy fulfills our requirements under RCW 42.56.070. It incorporates our resolution from 2022-024-07, where we acknowledge the library finds that would it be burdensome and would interfere with library operations to maintain an index of public records requests. And so we approved that as a board, or you approved it as the board, on November 19th, 2024. And so in this particular policy, we're just updating the relevant links to those public records, the public records policy that reflects our responsibilities and the fact that we don't index public records. And so this is really, we wanted to update everything, that it's consistent and that it's updated for ease of access. And any questions?
No questions?
If not, I would ask the board to approve the updated policy.
I move to approve the public records policy as revised.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and that passes. Okay, so for housekeeping, future dates, our next board meeting will be Tuesday, April 28th at 5:30, right here. That is the Board of Trustees monthly meeting. Also, any dates that you want to remember, please visit the Kitsap Regional Library webpage. And with that, we stand adjourned.